Recently in Hanoi, the United Nations Population Fund UNFPA has released the State of World Population 2016 with the theme 10. How does our future depends on this decisive age? The event raised awareness on issues of forced marriage, child labor, harmful practices undermining girls' health and rights. Girls are less likely than boys to complete formal schoolings at the secondary and university levels, and more likely to be in poorer physical and mental health, and will find it harder to get paid jobs. These challenges threaten the world's ambitious development agenda.
Thầy và trò nhà trường đều rất vui mừng, và với cái buổi công bố như thế này thì đây là một cái buổi rất có ý nghĩa đối với các em học sinh nữ của nhà trường. Các em sẽ hiểu được ý nghĩa, cái mục đích, cái ý nghĩa của cái việc là giáo dục các em, và các em nhận thức được cái tầm quan trọng của các em để các em cũng có cái sự phấn đấu.
Trong năm qua thì Đảng và Nhà nước chúng ta có rất nhiều chính sách hướng tới thanh niên, và đặc biệt là phục vụ thanh niên, và đặc biệt là những từ nhỏ. Nhiều cái chương trình giáo dục được chính phủ đầu tư, nhưng được cung cấp các bộ, các ngành thì đã tập trung nhiều cho các học sinh, đặc biệt là các học sinh tiểu học, học sinh học, và đầu tư cho các em thì đặc biệt là vấn đề giáo dục và sức khỏe, thì để tạo cho các em một cái tiền đề, một cái tiềm năng cho cái tương lai.
Vietnam is recording with the highest proportion of young people in its history, with young people between the ages of 10 to 24 now represent nearly 40% of the total population. Hence, at the event, UNFPA and the Vietnam's Youth Union have joined forces to call on the Vietnamese government and international efforts towards ensuring every young person is well educated and healthy, with knowledge and skills to make their dreams come true. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Sheng Vietnam on VTC 10 Net Viet. Recently, the United Nations Population Fund UNFPA has introduced the State on World Population 2016, emphasizing how our future depends on a 10-year-old girl. And we're here today with the Deputy Representative of UNFPA, Ms. Risunekin, to talk about how we can enhance the role of young girls towards achieving the Sustainable Development Goals 2030. Thank you, Ms. Risunekin, for joining our program today. So could you share more with us regarding the theme of the State of World Population Report 2016?
This is the decisive age in the sense that the girls transition from a childhood to the adulthood. And normally the puberty starts around that age. And it's a vulnerable time for many girls. Girls may sometimes be treated like a sexual being for the first time, and they might be experienced sexual violence, or in some cultures, some communities, they will be seen as a potential bride for child marriage. So it's a very vulnerable time, but at the same time it's a really important age. The girls can thrive, learn more at school, and become healthier, gain physical strength. So if we invest in girls on this age or not has an incredible difference, makes a difference in the country's future.
And how is this theme relevant to Vietnam?
Although Vietnam made great achievements around the last decades in terms of economic development, there are still remaining issues. For example, many women and girls still face discriminatory attitudes and stereotypes, and also some young people, actually many young people, face barriers when they try to access sexual reproductive health services and information. Recently, actually, government conducted the ethnic minority survey, and from that data also became more prominent that child marriage is actually quite a big issue in Vietnam. It was seen before just as an ethnic minority issue, only prevalent in ethnic minority communities, but we found out that this is not correct. Actually, there are cases even in the Kim majority, and also it is quite prevalent in some communes. More than 50% or around 50% girls get married under age. Government has been focusing on communication intervention, so really try to change the culture and tradition. But in fact, we need a lot more holistic approach. For example, if girls have other means to earn money and become more stable in their lives, they may not choose to marry. So it's important to have opportunities for education, for income earning. All these contextual issues are very important.
What are the challenges and opportunities of young girls in the context of Vietnam?
In the recent survey we conducted, we also found out many migrant children have limited access to education. So in addition to the ethnic and minority issues, we need to look at emerging issues such as the migrant people's well-being. I think Vietnam government has made a great stride in focusing on young people more and more. And as you know that there is already youth law in place, and we are now helping the government to revise the youth law, as well as recently supported the youth development policy action plan to be finalized. So there is a sort of framework, legal framework and policies in place for young people to participate and be a center of the Vietnam's economic and social development.
Tường Anh, grade 4 student at Trần Phú Primary School, was randomized to become the face of Vietnam's 10-year-old girls in the State of World Population report this year. She is the youngest in the family of 4 children, with parents are migrant workers moved from Thái Nguyên to Hanoi. Although income is limited, her parents always uphold and prioritize education for their children.
Sau này lớn lên con muốn trở thành giáo viên dạy tiếng Việt. Ở nhà thì con vẫn hay giúp mẹ, nhưng mà mẹ con nói là con phải học giỏi thì mới vào được đại học.
With the right investment, young girls recognize their role and motivated to contribute more to her family and the society.
Tôi hiện tại là tham mưu cho Ban Bí thư Trung đoàn có xây dựng cái chiến lược phát triển. Trong đó thì chúng tôi có các cái chương trình hành động của Đoàn Thanh niên thực hiện cái chiến lược dân số sức khỏe sinh sản Việt Nam giai đoạn 2012-2021. Và các cái hoạt động này thì ví dụ như là chúng tôi cùng với các cái trường phổ thông đến dạy cái kỹ năng sống, ví dụ như là vệ sinh cá nhân, rồi những cái nhận biết của tuổi dậy thì để các em nhận biết được như thế nào là những cái hành vi đúng trong cái sinh hoạt hàng ngày. Đối với thanh niên ở ngoài trường học thì chúng tôi các cái mô hình như là góc thân thiện, rồi là các cái mô hình và đồng đẳng cho học sinh, sinh viên. Trong cái đó thì thông qua cái mô hình đồng đẳng này các bạn tự giáo dục nhau và các bạn cùng phát triển theo một cái hướng, theo cái định hướng chung.
Today's 10-year-old girl will be 24 when the deadline for the United Nations New Development Agenda and the Sustainable Development Goals come in 2013. That development agenda aims for the world where every single person has an opportunity to fulfill their potential, the world that leaves no one behind, with support from family, community and nation. At the same time, the full realization of her rights, a 10-year-old girl can thrive and help bring about the future we all want.
So when we talk about investing in girls, could you share more with us about the areas of investment that the government should prioritize towards developing young girls and how it will contribute to the country's development?
Sure, the first is definitely education, but the important is the life skill education, not just the knowledge and kind of textbook-based knowledge, but the ability to be able to, for example, in terms of sexual reproductive health education, to negotiate when you have a sex. So this kind of life skill, prevent you from the violence, for example, is very important. And the two is, of course, health. And because most of young people are healthy, health normally or often means sexual reproductive health. So girls' access to sexual reproductive health services and information is also very important. It is very easy if we could compare different cases. Actually, this report compared two scenarios. For example, if you don't invest in girls, the girl may marry early. They drop out of school and they bear children early. And by 20, she's already kind of limited opportunities to really prosper as a person. And you see, economically, you will lose the opportunity to gain more income. And generally, in this report, we say if you invest in girls, the girls' lifetime income will be triple. And this also applies to Vietnam calculation. And one case, if you don't invest in girls, in general, the girl will gain $9,000 in their lifetime. But if you invest, it's $20,000. So it's more than double the income, the lifelong income for the girl.
What are the activities and programs that UNFPA is implementing towards girls' development?
Globally, UNFPA, of course, supports mostly the sexual reproductive health related issues. And in 2015 alone, more than 11 million girls between the age of 10 and 19 were supported to have better access to sexual reproductive health services. So that's a global approach. And also we support the fight against child marriage and other harmful practices around the world. In Vietnam, as I mentioned, our focus is at policy level, and we support the Ministry of Home Affairs, the National Assembly, to have a very good policy in place for young people and young girls. That's the community level work at this point. For example, in Quang Binh province, we support the province to have a better offerings of sexual reproductive health services and information for out-of-school young people, as well as through the training of pharmacists, they can have more youth-friendly services. We also work with the Ministry of Health to make sure that the young people can have information about cervical cancer. And it's a relatively new area, but we feel it's important that young people are aware of HPV and cervical cancer risks early on.
And what are your recommendations for agencies such as youth unions to be more efficient in representing the voice of young girls in the national development?
So Youth Union, of course, is also a very important partner for us. So we have been saying for many years that young people are not a coherent group. They have a very different kinds of background. Some are migrants, some are ethnic minorities, some are LGBT. So all this diversity we need to bring in when you talk about youth participation. And I have to say they have been really good, becoming better and better at engaging a diverse range of young people. However, I think it is very important to support also youth-led groups, that youth themselves form the groups and advocate for their own issue. And that's the part that we are also trying to do as a United Nations, that we need to support not only Youth Union, but also youth-led groups. They can have a better voice in the policy-making process.
Thank you, Ms. Risunakan, so much for all your sharing today. And that's the end of our program today. Thank you so much for watching us. Any questions and recommendations, please email to shrainvietnam@netvittv.net. Thank you and see you again.